It is Tuesday, March 5th, and a quorum is present. This is the Minnesota Education Finance Committee, and I am now calling it to order. Today we will be hearing a presentation on school counselors, and then we will move on to Senate File 3130, Senate File 3832, and Senate File 3912. I think today is going to be a really important day when as we are hearing from the counselors. One of the things we have heard loud and clear for a number of years is the need to get those services to our students as best we can to ensure that not only do they have a friendly face and a willing ear in our schools, but also somebody to help guide them to provide services when they are having perhaps mental health issues or other issues that are affecting their education. We know that, and we're going to hear more about that in the presentation from our school counselors, that the American School Council Association recommends a 250 students to one counselor, and that even sounds kind of alarmingly large to me, but we're not really able to meet those needs. I think the national average is actually 385 students to one, and in Minnesota, I think we are 544 average to one counselor. And so I feel like it's really important that we hear from the counselors, right from them, because that's where we get our information. The best information comes right from the people that are boots on the ground and doing the work. And so at this time, we will hear from school counselors, and I believe we have half a dozen testifiers. So if you would please, as you are speaking, share your name for the record, and then you may begin.
Good morning, Senator Kunish. Thank you so much for inviting us. My name is Sydney Pyrus. I am a school counselor in Stillwater Area High School through the Stillwater Area Public Schools, and I sit on our MISCA, Minnesota School Counseling Association Advocacy Committee. We appreciate your time today, and we want to start off with talking a little bit about what is the state of the state when it comes to school counseling and supporting Minnesota students. And so the premise here today is increasing support and increasing access for Minnesota students. If we can go to the next slide, please, that'd be great. Scroll down. There we go, cool. When we think about our main three issues that we're seeing in the state of Minnesota, the first one being that there are insufficient school counseling staffing needs. And when we talk about that, Senator Kunish kind of gave you a highlight in terms of our ratios. Minnesota is 48th in the nation when it comes to school counselor ratios for students. Oftentimes, that is meaning that students are having to wait anywhere from days to weeks to even months to get the support that they need and that they deserve, and that we pride ourselves as an education system in Minnesota to help with. This also means that when there are school counselors in the elementary, middles, and high schools, it also means that those staff already are significantly overburdened with the roles and responsibilities that we have been trained very selectively and highly trained to provide to students. It also means that at times that we are tasked with responsibilities that we are not trained to do and have to take on because there are not other staff in the building that are doing that. And so not only are we tasked with our own training and roles and responsibilities, but we are also then tasked with a lot of inappropriate tasks and responsibilities to help support schools. Part of that reason is that there's been a lack of clarity about our roles and our responsibilities, both in this state and elsewhere, in terms of what do we do, what are we highly trained to provide students, and especially trained to do that. And so that is another factor, and we find that not just within our own buildings and within, our staffing, district level, school boards, and obviously the community as well at this level. And then of course, the last thing that is part of this conversation is that because we are specifically trained in a certain way, we all require master's degrees and above with a lot of practicum and internship hours. that accessing our career field is tough for a lot of folks. And so not only is our profession challenging to enter at times, but then once we are actually in the profession, the reality of our job is also contributing to students not, obviously accessing us, but is also contributing to folks leaving the field as well. And either going to different states. Oftentimes we're finding that in North Dakota, for example, as well as Wisconsin and Iowa. Or they are switching professions and going into a different role. And so I know that the rest of the folks here will be talking a little bit more about those specifics, but just to give you kind of an intro to why we're here today.
All right. Good morning, everybody. My name's Clinton Ferguson. I'm a school counselor in Minneapolis. I have
Excuse me. Would you mind either bringing the microphone a little bit closer or speaking closer to it? Thank you.
Sorry about that. My name's Clinton Ferguson. I'm a Minneapolis native. I graduated from Minneapolis High School, Minneapolis Public Schools. I work there, got kids that go there, I live there, and so it's really a passion of mine to be able to serve my community. And a lot of other counselors the same. It's a calling for us. So the next slide we have is the counselor ratios. So in Minnesota, it's 544 is the average per counselor, so students on our caseload. I have 576 students that I'm the counselor of record of, and these are 14 to 21-year-old students with many, many needs. And so it makes it really tough to provide the quality service that our students deserve. They deserve it. It makes it really tough. I'm booked 3 weeks out, and all my replies start with, "Sorry for the delay." And I don't want to say that, and our parents and community members, they deserve better than that, students especially. So that really high number is unique to Minnesota. We've always remained in the kind of bottom 3 in the nation with regard to how many students a counselor has on their caseload. Okay. So some of the benefits of having school counselors in the building. One, improved academic outcomes, studies have shown, and that link right underneath the benefits of lower ratios has all the research and all the data on this. There are improved academic outcomes when there are lower ratios for school counselors. It's there. We get to do more support with the students, and we can really help them grow and learn. Increased college attendance. So we are like walking databases of opportunities for students. So even when I'm talking to community members and they're telling me, "Oh, I got a fifth grader and they play this and they like that," in my mind I'm like prescribing resources. You know what I mean? And there's so much, and our students deserve this. Like every student really deserves quality counseling services. Decreased discipline issues has been found with lower ratios. Oftentimes counselors, given our role, we are kind of like the glue in the building between teachers, administrators. We hear a little bit from here, a little bit from there. Just to give an example, like this year I was able to get resources to look into some labor trafficking issues that was going on in our building and identify it and find supports for those students, because we're talking to other teachers and we're really supporting that climate and community and culture of the building. With smaller caseloads, there's also increased student support services. So being available for students, we're kind of like a triage. I've developed relationships with students where they'll feel comfortable coming to me. I help them through a tough time. So you know what? I'm going to go to Mr. Ferguson because he's cool. I'm going to tell him, such and such has been having a bad day and we're concerned. And now I'm not going to ignore my duties, but I'm going to support that student, and we're making inroads to help students and connect resources with the student. I may not be able to provide the service, but we have a therapist, or here's some resources for mental health supports that can support you. And then also higher staff morale. So when we support administrators and teachers, everybody in the building. So we kind of bring everything together and really help everybody be successful. So when teachers need support, we help them advocate. As you all know, politics is real, and even in education, unfortunately. And so we've learned to navigate those spaces and really help as long as the student is centered, okay? But what we found as counselors is that there's really nobody advocating specifically for us, except for obviously you all. But that's why we're here today, you know? We're here to really get resources for our students. So, thank you.
Good morning. I am Callie Moreau, and I am a school counselor at Central Middle School in White Bear Lake. I also currently am serving as the president-elect for our Minnesota School Counseling Association. I see some friendly faces up front, so thanks for being here and supporting us. I had an opportunity, along with Sydney, to dive deep into some of the data that is out there on MDE and PELSB related to licensures and positions in the state. And it was quite alarming to take a look at that information and see maybe some lack of accuracy or transparency in who is serving in roles across the state, and also the lack of school counselors we have in our state. So currently there are only 760 school counselor positions across our entire state of Minnesota. That means only 58% of our public school districts have a licensed school counselor, either full or part-time, in their district. There's about half of them are full-time, and then the other half are about part-time. You can also see that where we are serving the most amount of students is typically at our secondary or high school levels, and often who is being overlooked are our youngest learners. And you're going to hear from one of my colleagues in a little bit who works at an elementary school. I also dove into kind of looking at that ratios of where we are serving students and who is closest to, and by closest I mean still very far away from ASCA's recommended ratio of 250-1. So this is the 10 Minnesota counties with the highest number of school counselor positions. They're shown on this map, and you can see that most of them are within our metro region. It shows that those ratios range anywhere from 382 to the highest one in the top 10, this is the people with the most school counselors in their counties, to 737. The other alarming information that I found was it was over the thousands when it was in the bottom, and some counties had no school counselors, including our counties that have our native reservations. So those are some important facts that I think we need to consider of who is being served, who is being underserved the most, and how do we work to strive to that 250-1 for all of our students in every corner of Minnesota.
Hi, I'm Megan Reyes, elementary school counselor in Rochester Public Schools. I work at Church Hill Elementary and Hoover Elementary, so I work at 2 elementary schools within Rochester. As Callie had mentioned, we as elementary school counselors are vital importance to our students, of our younger learners. On the slide here, we see that the role of the school counselor, we work with our students in the academics and helping them with goal setting. We try to do as much tier 1, so seeing all students. We do this by using our data to drive us, and we are vital members of our school community. We help them in our 3 domains, which is our academic achievement. So like right now, I'm helping many students overcome with growth mindset of frustrations when it comes to academics and setting them up for success when they get to middle school. Personal social development, we know that in the younger learners, it's important that they have those social skills and interactions and learn how to handle those big emotions and naming them. That way, again, they're gonna be successful in order to make those decisions when they go to middle school and high school. And then the last one is college and career development. It's also important to know and help our students, K through 12, how are they gonna be successful once they graduate high school? Where are they gonna go? Are they gonna go a different career path, or are they gonna go to the secondary and helping them get through the college application process, trades programs, and things like that? And we also do a whole lot with our consultation and collaboration with our school community, our family members, administration, staff, everybody. So it's important that we help support our students in the K-12 become those successful citizens of our school community, our own community, and then the citizens of Minnesota. You can do the next slide. This is a little bit harder to read, but this is from our American School Counselor Association. It's our appropriate and inappropriate activities for school counselors. Obviously, on our huge list of our appropriate activities, this is our goal, is that 80% of our time is spent with direct services of our students. So it might be us interpreting certain information, giving that small group situations with students, doing classroom or town halls with all students to give them the right information, or if we're supporting them individually. As some of our other colleagues had mentioned already, that we support kids no matter what in all crises, but sometimes we are asked to do a lot of tasks that are inappropriate for us. So some examples are if we were asked to be more of an administrator when it comes to discipline, handling things that are just out of our scope and sequence, out of our training, maybe implementing different types of testing, things along those lines. I know from my own experience, being at 2 different elementary schools, one of my schools, there was no admin for the day, and I was the only one who was trained to help with behaviors. So I was getting the brute force of it, removing students and being an admin. That is not my job title. So I feel like there was harm put in that place with some of our kindergarten students who were having a very rough day. From that, like I said, we try to incorporate as many things in working together with our teammates and helping support each other. But again, as we said, it's important for us to advocate for who we are and what our roles are.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. My name is Carolyn Berger. I'm a professor at the University of Minnesota, and I train school counselors. And I'm going to speak a little bit to questions that we frequently get about the pipeline. So if we were to open more school counseling positions in Minnesota, are there enough folks to fill those positions? So I will get to that, but a few things that I just want to highlight are some things that my colleagues here have already hinted at or highlighted. One big thing is financial barriers to entering the profession. Of course, any master's degree is very expensive, as we all know. However, in school counseling, it's especially expensive because these are 60-credit programs. Many masters take about 30 to 45 credits, so you can see that's a lot more credits that they're required to be in school for. In addition to that, they're required to complete 700 hours of school experience in practicum and internship settings. And what that means is that they're in schools for about 25 hours a week on top of taking courses, which means they're not able to earn money. So many of them have to quit their full-time jobs or significantly reduce their part-time hours in order to complete their practicum and internship experiences. And from my experience working at the U of M, I would say roughly only 10% of our students are able to find some form of a paid internship. I'm going to turn it over to Bree Bayless next, who's a great student of mine, to speak to that, because she's one of the rare students who was able to get a paid internship experience. But by and large, most of our students cannot obtain that. And with the high licensure requirements and the significant financial barriers, that ends up unfortunately leading to a lack of diversity in our profession. The majority of school counselors are white women, and in my opinion, the reason for that is because many students from diverse backgrounds cannot afford to go to get these degrees and afford to quit their jobs, and so that contributes to lack of diversity in our profession. In addition to a significant challenge with work-life balance concerns, if you're a caregiver, a parent, if you have a life, which most of us do, all of us do, it's very tricky to balance all of that along with grad school. The next slide here, what I did was I surveyed the 5 in-state Minnesota school counselor in-person programs. So that includes the schools listed on the slides. You can see my university, the U of M, MSU Mankato, MSU Moorhead, Winona, and St. Cloud State. And so between these 5 in-state in-person programs, right now there are approximately 136 students enrolled in school counseling, and across the board, about 17% of those are minority students. And we calculated that approximately each year, about 60 students are graduating from these programs with getting licenses in school counseling. However, I will add, in spite of the fact that those numbers are okay, they're relatively good, part of our problem is that many of these students that graduate end up going out of state. So for example, in speaking with Winona, they said about half of their students end up going to Wisconsin. And the reason for that being that Wisconsin funds paid internships for students. And so students go to Wisconsin to get their internship paid for, and guess what? They end up staying there. They don't come back to Minnesota. And so we are losing some of our excellent graduate students to other states. In addition to more funding in other states, there are also when many of our students say they opt to go to other states because when they go to those states, they're more able to do the role of what they're trained to do because the ratios are much lower. As you saw on the slide that Clinton shared, all of our neighboring states have ratios that are well below 200 plus students below what we are here in Minnesota. So rather than putting out fires and managing crises in these other states, they're actually able to do the preventative work of a school counselor, to be in classrooms, to be preventing crises instead of responding to them. And so when students are excited to go do the role, they'd rather be in some of these other states. And there are links later on in these slides, if you have access to the PowerPoint, that shows more in depth what other counselor educators across the state are saying. So I just thought I would share a little snapshot of that to explain what the pipeline concerns are. And I'm going to turn it over to my student, Bree, to share a little bit about her story.
Good morning. I am Brianna Bayless, a graduate student at the University of Minnesota and one of the counselors at North High School in Minneapolis. I want to start by saying thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my experience as a graduate student. My program at the U is 60 credits and I am enrolled full-time, which means I take courses for 2 full years, including the summer and including 700 hours of practicum and internship. I have been fortunate enough to live with my mom and find jobs that were willing to work with my schedule so I can financially provide for myself. Currently, I have a paid counseling position at North High School in Minneapolis that counts towards my internship hours. I graduated from North in 2016, and I've always wanted to return to give back to my community. I am thankful because it would be extremely difficult to provide for myself and complete my internship hours for free. I feel for those in my cohort who have not received the same opportunity. With the demand of our internship hours and class time, it is hard to work at paid jobs on the side. Some are working 16-hour shifts, taking care of family members, living on their own, and some have even more challenging barriers. We spend so much time at our practicum and internship sites, and it would be helpful for us to have paid internships. It would decrease the burden and stress of having to balance work and school. It would prevent students from burning out and dropping out, which I know many are tempted to do. As you've heard, we are in need of more school counselors, and funding internships could be a step towards increasing applicants. Thank you.
So briefly, I know many of you all, I've recognized faces and we've met with you about our legislative priorities. This slide, I know it's hard to see, but I'll just give a snapshot of what we're advocating for. So one is we're really advocating for more policy around clarifying the role of a school counselor so that school counselors have some state support on advocacy, to advocate for their role and to advocate for recommended ratios. Other things that we've mentioned, of course, are funding paid internships and providing more scholarships and supports to students in the pipeline, as well as loan forgiveness to those who graduate. So that is just a little highlight of those policy recommendations. I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues to share a few brief stories before we open it up for questions.
One of the unique things about being a school counselor is that we are well trained in data, and of course some of that is quantitative data based on numbers, but then we oftentimes find ourselves in a situation where some of the work that we do you can't see in the data. It's not very clear. It impacts it, but it's not a clear connection. And so I wanted to share a couple quotes based on the few years that I've been doing school counseling. One of these first ones came from a parent of mine who we worked very closely together with her student, who was a male student, had some academic challenges as well as some mental health challenges. And very tragically, years after graduation, he did pass away. And I never knew the impact that I had on this student and their family until the funeral. And at that funeral, the mom pulled me aside in tears and said, had it not been for your role in my student's education, he would have never have graduated. And that was the thing that he was most proud of, was his high school diploma. He had started his own entrepreneurship business up north, doing outdoor work, and it was phenomenal. And again, you wouldn't have seen that in a graduation rate or a test score rate or anything like that. A couple other quotes that I wanted to share, because again, our work is so robust and in so many different areas, like we talked about, social, emotional, academic, as well as post-secondary planning. Some of these quotes are from students as well as from their family members. And so, yeah, first one is thank you. Thank you so much for all the work that you do for our students. I don't know where I would be without all of your help. I know I've not always been easy to help, but I appreciate everything you've done. Whether it's academic or my own personal issues, you've not given up on me when others have. I truly believe that you have helped save my life. That was just from a couple months ago. A few years ago, I wanted to take time to tell you how much I appreciated having you as a school counselor over the years. Thank you for providing a safe space, a place that I can rely on to recoup. You've taught me to identify and manage my own thinking errors, as well as teaching me how to be kind to myself. Thank you for all of that. Another one, honestly, being in your office was always the highlight of my school day. Thank you for always making time to talk to me, letting me vent to you, helping with my homework, other life problems, but most of all, just letting me be me. Thank you for everything. I think it's been great to see you do this intervention in the classroom. I've noticed that the students' grades have all improved this semester due to the work that you are doing. Additionally, the last one that I wanted to share from a parent is I wanted to say thank you so much for everything that you've done for my student. The work that you do is remarkable, and you can see the heart that you have for these kids. We are very lucky that our students have you to look up to at the high school. Again, I wanted to share those things because you're not going to see that in data points. You're not going to see those stories all the time. A lot of, part of Minnesota nice sometimes is that we work hard. When things are going wrong, we dig down, we work hard, and sometimes we're not always the best at asking for help. And sometimes we're not always great about talking about the help that we get, right? And so being able to share some of those stories with you, again, pieces that you're not always going to see in some of the data, but speaks to the work that we can do. And quite frankly, some of these quotes came from my work in a state where I was at 250 to 1. I was out in Oregon before, and so I had a 250 to 1 ratio, and the work that I could do that was preventative, that was proactive, that was evidence-based, that was collaborative, that was direct services to students and their families, compared to the work that I can do here in Minnesota, where I'm at over 400 students to 1, it's night and day difference, night and day. And our kids deserve that. They deserve having our respect, they deserve having our time, they deserve having our expertise, and they deserve someone that's in their corner no matter what. And we are just part of that puzzle for them. And so, our work as school counselors is in conjunction with teachers and parents and administrators and our nurses and our social workers and our school psychologists. We are just part of that puzzle, but it's a very important piece that our students need and need more of. And so we appreciate your time today.
This slide just briefly highlights the links if you're looking for more information, so I just wanted to highlight that. Hopefully you have that access to that in your PowerPoint. Just real briefly, these are our national group and our state school counselor association, along with all of the names of the folks who you just heard testify today. So I guess at this point we'll turn it over for questions from the senators. So we can popcorn around. If I can't answer your question or Sydney can't, we'll bring in our school counselors who can.
Well, first of all, thank you all for coming out to the Capitol this morning and sharing your stories and the kind of work that you do. Having been a teacher for 25 years and the last 5 at a middle school, I recognize just how valuable your role is in the schools and how much our students depend on the counselors for helping them get through unique issues and situations, and also the staff. the staff as well. And so I want to say thank you to all of you for coming here today and sharing your information and your stories and the difference that it makes. We do have a question from Senator Gustafson, or a comment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I just wanted to recognize Callie, who is from White Bear Lake. Go Bears. And then Brianna, it sounds like you graduated in 2016 from North High School, and I left there in 2011, or 2012, so it looks like we maybe just missed you. And you also teach at North Minneapolis, is that correct?
I'm at Washburn High School in South Minneapolis.
Got it, okay. So anyways, I just wanted to say it's really nice to see people who've kind of been in the same education circles. This was something that I've been talking about for a long time, and I really regret that we couldn't completely solve this problem last session. You're right, I cannot say enough about what school counselors do in our schools. I think it is, I almost feel like the job title does not really explain all of the hats that have to be worn. Sorry, I should preface that I was a teacher for a long time, 12 years. And you guys work so hard. I think one of the things that makes this really hard to solve is that there's no one way. Like, we could put a bunch of money into school districts, which we have. We could add more. And I'm still not sure that that would solve the problem. So I like the slide that was hard to read, but you explained it well about different solutions that you have. And I do think that we have to connect it to higher education. Somehow it's got to be linked to some tuition incentives or some training, or maybe, a change in licensing to make it more accessible for everybody. But it's a tough job. I think these presentations are useful. I think you should come back every session until we get this solved. And I hate that we're losing graduates to Wisconsin. I can't say how much I hate that. So as someone who married a Wisconsinite, but still I don't like that at all. So anyways, thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Senator Cwodzinski.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's a lot going on in here, and I just want to echo what Senator Gustafson said about how much we appreciate you being here, and hopefully we don't ever have to have you back because we fixed the problem. But with that said, I think you're going to be coming back, and I don't know how to even begin, but I know we pride ourselves on as an education state. And I know in 2016, when I was campaigning, I used to tell people we were 44th in the nation's counselor to student ratios, and people were aghast at that. And now to find out we're 48th in the nation, we've gone backwards, not forwards. And I don't know even to begin to answer how that happened over the last 7 or 8 or 9 years, but it's troubling me. And then the other thing, I'll get to a question here in a minute, but I know that, well, I got 2 questions, I guess, but there was one of my high schools had a class they created about 6 years ago, and because I do believe it was pre-COVID, and it was a class of potential teachers. Anybody thinking about going into education, and they created this class of about 20 to 25 students that took it that were thinking about a career in education. And then they had a graduation ceremony at the last day of class, and they asked me to come, speak at it. And less than 5 were going into teaching after taking a class on wanting to be a teacher. And the common refrain was, I don't want to work that hard. And which leads me to my first question. It would be helpful if you put page numbers on the PowerPoint. That's the teacher in me that wants to point that out. And then my students would always say, and put how many more out of how many, so they knew. Anyways, okay. But this one chart here, it's Minnesota School Counselor Programs thank you for putting that up there. 140 students are enrolled, and less than 50% graduate. What's happening to those wonderful young people that wanted to choose this noblest of professions, that less than 0.5% end up being a counselor? And I hope the reason I started with that story of I found out how hard it is, I
Yes.
hope that's not the answer, but I'm guessing.
No. So just to clarify, so the number of students enrolled is one number, and that's across all programs. It's usually a 2-year program, so it doesn't mean that they're not graduating. It just means they're not graduating yet. So approximately, I would say roughly at the U of M, we have relatively, right now, it's very, very low. About 95 to 99% of our students who enter the program graduate.
Oh.
Yes, so it's much more optimistic than that. Or
That
hopeful.
is wonderful news. Thank you, Madam Chair, for, okay. And then my other question, and I know I've met with one of you at least about this issue. We know that there's a mental health crisis in our students and our teachers and counselors as well. I mean, a lot of people in education are hurting. And so last session, with the hard work that the chair did on education funding, we really hoped that the counselor to student ratios would go way down. And what we found, or at least what I found, is a lot of money went to administrative positions and not boots on the ground, so to speak, and counselors that are seeing kids day to day. And do you have any insights or how to thwart the continuation of that, or what we may do as legislators to make sure that the hard work we do clearly benefits a person that's actually seeing students on a day-to-day basis? Thank you, Madam Chair.
Certainly. So I was speaking with our manager of counseling services the other day, and having protected funds for school counselors, including Title IV, would be very, very, very helpful. Protected funds specifically for school counselors.
When we look at other states where they have ratios that are more in alignment with the ASCA recommendation, those priorities and recommendations that we have provided are based on how other states have successfully navigated this. So in those states, there have been the protected funds that are specifically allocated for school counselors. There have been funded mandates that have given suggestions to, or like requirements, for those positions. So at the high school level, it has to look like this, at the middle school, elementary school. And so those recommendations that we have provided are based on how other states have successfully navigated that specific question. Everything from those funded mandates, the recommendations there, making sure that the job descriptions and what we're trained to do, that we are doing the appropriate responsibilities and trying to take things off of our plates that are, taking up our time that we're not trained to do. As well as addressing, like Carolyn mentioned, that pipeline piece to make sure that, we have 760 positions here. We're graduating about over 100 students. Our school counseling profession is strong. We have the people here, and our goal is to keep them here. And right now, that's our concern, is that they're leaving our state for others because those ratios are lower. They're getting the paid internship opportunities, and they're able to do the job that they've been trained to do. And the feedback they're giving us is they're not able to do that here in Minnesota.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just have one observation. I met with 100 students in one of my high schools, and I asked them simple questions that didn't require a long answer. And but these were the questions. Has your mental health declined post-COVID? How often do you feel unsafe? How often do you read for pleasure? Those results weren't very encouraging. How many hours a night do you have for homework? And the first question I asked them was, how long does it take to see your counselor? And the number one answer was 1 to 2 days. Very few students said immediately, but a couple did. But 1 to 2 days was the number one answer. So thank you, all of you, for being here today. It's a pleasure and an honor.
Senator Farnsworth, you have a question or comment?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. So in my office in Hibbing High School, I'm right next to the counselor's office. And so I hear the tears and the laughter and the joking through the wall, because it's not a great wall. And so I certainly wouldn't question the value that you bring. But I think one of the things that I want to bring up is, and this is more of a suggestion as far as your your goals or your suggestions to us as far as how to increase the number of counselors in the school. You know, the tuition reimbursement, that sort of thing. Everybody's trying to do that. Nurses are saying we need to pay for tuition so that we'll get more nurses and for doctors and for dentists. And at some point it dilutes it so much that people are like, well, you know, if I can get free tuition to do this, why would I become a school counselor? And my recommendation would be, I heard a couple of my colleagues here say, boy, we wish we could have done it last year. We had a record amount of money last year. We should have been able to do this, but we didn't prioritize it. We prioritized mandates. And interestingly enough, I read an article this morning from NPR that said school districts in the Twin Cities metro area, even with all of this record money, are going to have to cut $300 million. And most of this is because of the mandate. So I would say that maybe in presentations like this, they stop mandating the heck out of us. Let us do our job so that school districts have money that they can prioritize for these sorts of things. Because this is something that's important. As I said, my office is right next door to the counselors. I hear, and I'm like, oh, thank God I'm not over there having to deal with a 14-year-old crying. But we have to allow the school districts to have the funding to do that, and we're not doing it. The reason that we're falling farther and farther behind is because we're the state of 10,000 mandates. And you were talking about we need funded mandates. Well, we have a lot of unfunded mandates. So that would just be my suggestion. I agree this is something that we need to do. It's something that we probably should have done last year, and it was counterproductive. All of the districts, except for one in my Senate district, have to cut. After all of this record money that was bragged about, they all have to cut. And I know they all want to add counselors, and they're not able to do it. So, you know, other than, you know, maybe the paid internship is probably something that we could look at. You know, when I did my student teaching, I couldn't believe that my friend who was an actuary was going to get paid to do a internship. And I think that's something that's worth looking at. But in general, in education, we have to get rid of the mandates so that schools can hire counselors. And I would say that's something that your organization should be pushing and saying, stop mandating us. We do a good job. We don't need the state micromanaging every single thing we do. Thank you.
Well, your viewpoint is well taken, Senator Farnsworth, but let's just remember that we put $60 million in student aid, support aid, and in some instances, some of that was mandated, but also some of that was up to the districts to use as they please. So we did put a substantial amount in there. Senator Farnsworth.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So my question then to the testifiers, of that $60 million, how many new counselors were added? Was it used for that?
I'm coming up from behind because this is an area that I've talked to a couple senators on the committee about already. So we have started to look as an association at some of that data, and our data is only from what we've gathered so far. MD probably will not have those numbers for probably until next fall. But as a MISCA, as our organization, we started gathering that information early this fall to see how it was impacting our fellow colleagues across the state of Minnesota. And a lot of districts, and what we've heard back is that the funding, when it trickled down to our actual school districts, was not enough to actually increase the number of school counselors, psychologists, or social workers in their buildings. It may have taken a part-time position and made it a little bit more full-time in one of those roles. It may have taken a grant-funded position and made that so it's sustainable and no longer a grant-funded position. But we heard from very few colleagues around the state that they actually took like their school counselors from 10 in Hibbing to 12. There was no great change in the number of school counselors, social workers, or psychologists being added to our state. And that's, I think, where that trickle down came. The money just wasn't enough to make a difference. And I think when you were talking about the mandates, I hear you and feeling your frustration there. I think when we're coming at it right now from our organization, we are coming at it from a policy place. We would love for the state to see our role as bigger than it used to be as a guidance guidance counselor, helping create language around the robust job that we do as school counselors, and setting that kind of expectation or recommendation for that 250 to 1 that districts can start to strive to better serve our students. There are so many students in our state that do not have access to a school counselor. And so by starting here, it's not a mandate, but it's setting some language around policy about how we can better serve our kids in the state.
Follow-up, Farnsworth, Senator Farnsworth?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, I mean, she said it, the 60 million didn't add. And I think part of that is because of the mandates gobbled up all the rest of the money, so there wasn't money to add to that 60 million. And we just need to stop mandating and allow schools to do their job.
And again, Senator Farnsworth, we did very intentionally put those dollars towards that. Of course, it's up to the school district to use those dollars as best they can. So even when we don't mandate, sometimes those dollars don't get to where they will be. We know that Pelsby will have more information for us next year or next week on this very topic, and so with that information, we'll be able to perhaps reevaluate and look at where those dollars are going. Senator Verbaden, you wanted to say something.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just think it's important for us to recognize that we've been dealing with decades of underfunding of our schools. So we did amazing work in this committee last session to try to catch up, but we're still catching up, right? And I think our majority has made education a priority, something that was desperately needed in the sessions before this.
Thank you. Follow-up, Senator Farnsworth.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I find those comments interesting because none of my school districts have had to cut money until this year. So this majority is the majority that caused my school districts to have to cut money, all of them except for one. So that's an interesting comment.
Any other comments? Well, counselors, unless you have anything to leave us with, we just want to say thank you again so much for taking time out of your day and coming here this morning and sharing with us and really building a very colorful conversation. This is something that we are, it's not a one and done. As we said last year, we started to do the work that we can after years of lack of investments. It was our first year at it. 1 year isn't going to fix everything. And this is really one of those things that is foremost on our minds. So if you have any closing comments, please go ahead. Otherwise, thank you again so much.
Thank you. We appreciate your time this morning.
Yes, agreed. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, I think we are going to move now to Senator Hoffman's bill 3130. In the meantime, I'd like to recognize our audience has filled in quite nicely. Today is AMSD Day on the Hill, the Association of Metro School Districts. I know we have school board members here, parents, district staff, students, and we just appreciate all of you coming to the Capitol today and sharing your thoughts and ideas. I'm sure many of us will be meeting with you throughout the day. I see many, my school district is here, and just appreciate the work that you do to support our schools as well. And so with that, Senator Hoffman, Senate File 3130, welcome to our committee.
It's nice to be back, Madam Chair. Appreciate you taking time to have me here. And there should be an A1 amendment in front of you. That's my author amendment. It just updates the dates from 2024 to 2025. So if somebody could move that, I'd appreciate that.
All right. Senator Cwodzinski, would you like to move the A1?
So moved, Senator.
Thank you, Senator Cwodzinski. Now, Senator Hoffman, would you like to speak to that amendment?
I will absolutely, Madam Chair. I said that in my intro. It just changes the date, the effective date, 2024 to 2025. I want to thank Senators Rarick, Senator Yu, Madam Chair, Senator Abler, and Senator Marty for being co-authors of this bill. And to that point, the Kids in Need Foundation creates what is equitable learning spaces through the distribution of supplies and resources. Investing in teachers and students in underserved schools, promoting equity in schools, that is an invaluable social investment that gives children a reliable foundation and fosters a broader perspective. A quality education equips the students with knowledge about themselves and the world around them and ultimately empowers youth to make decisions for their futures. The Kids in Need Foundation is the only national nonprofit focusing on the nation's most under-reserved schools, those where 50% or more of the enrolled students are eligible for free or reduced meals through the National School Lunch Program. In Minnesota alone, Madam Chair, 2023, the Kids in Need Foundation supported over 110,292 students and 4,802 teachers in approximately 351 under-resourced schools across 20 counties. At the schools they serve through the programs and initiatives, 50% or more of the enrolled students are eligible for National School Lunch Program services. And that just sets the bar of the economic need that's there, Madam Chair. Kids in Need Foundation is seeking grant matching funds to help establish a 60,000 square foot distribution center for teachers and students in Roseville. And if any of you have ever toured the existing organization structure that they have and to see what they're doing, it is absolutely a buzz with teachers coming in and they're able to get things for their students, for the classroom that's there. The multifaceted facility will repurpose the former Minnesota Department of Ed building that's encompassing the Minnesota Teacher Resource Center and Volunteer Center, school supply warehouse, and general office space. And the facility not only provides Minnesota teachers with access to free resources, but also supports specialized programs like the Rural and Indigenous School Equity, which is called RISE, directly addressing the unique challenges that are faced by these communities. The expanded infrastructure will enable Kids in Need Foundation to offer increased support to the greater number of students and the number of communities across the state, Madam Chair. And with that, Corey Gordon, CEO of Kids in Need Foundation, is here. We have Michael Houston, who's the Minnesota Teacher of the Year. I think there's a video on that. And then Kids in Need Foundation Board President Heather Green from the 3M Corporation. There's also a video as well. In your packet, there's a fact sheet about the grant that breaks down the cost by item and as well as a teacher impact survey. So with that, Madam Chair, Corey Gordon.
Before we go, we do have to move that A1 amendment. And so, Senator Rarick, we are going to lay this bill over. Members, do you have any questions on the A1 amendment? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of adopting the A1 amendment, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the amendment passes. And Mr. Gordon, would you like to go ahead?
Thank you. Well, thank you for the introduction, Senator Hoffman, Madam Chair, Leader Rarick, members of the committee. Appreciate the opportunity to be here in front of you and talk a little bit about the mission and work of Kids in Need Foundation. We're a 30-year-old national organization headquartered just 20 minutes from here in Roseville, and we've serviced teachers and students all throughout this great state as well as throughout the country. And for those of you who may not be familiar with the organization, we're ranked in the 99th percentile and as a 4-star charity by Charity Navigator. We are profiled by great nonprofits, and we're pleased to have the Platinum Transparency Seal from GuideStar Candid. So those are some of the watchdogs and entities that reviewed nonprofits across the U.S. We also prepared a short video as a way of introduction. Many of you are current or former educators, so you know firsthand what it's like to have students come to school lacking supplies. Many teachers, as you know, are filling in the gap there by providing supplies and buying supplies out of their own pockets. And so we exist to ensure that for both teachers, but also for the students that they see every single day, that they are getting the resources they need to be in school and to stay in school. And we provide these resources and supplies at zero cost to the teachers, schools, and the students. It's completely free of charge to them. And so as a quick way of introduction here, please take a look at this video. Can we get some volume, please?
nonprofit focused on the country's most under-resourced schools, where 70% or more of the enrolled students are eligible for free or reduced-cost meals through the National School Lunch Program. These chronically under-resourced schools receive significantly less funding annually and disproportionately serve students of color. Kids in Need Foundation left a lasting mark on the educational landscape of Minnesota by extending its support to 110,292 students and 4,820 teachers across 351 under-resourced schools. The organization demonstrated an unwavering commitment to fostering educational equality. Through targeted initiatives and resource distribution, Kids in Need Foundation significantly enhanced the learning experiences of countless students and provided support to the dedicated teachers shaping their future. In 2023, Kids in Need Foundation made significant strides in its mission, collaborating with nearly 60 different communities across a diverse array of counties in Minnesota. The organization reached communities in the 7-county metro area and beyond, establishing meaningful partnerships with schools to distribute essential supplies, engage with local stakeholders, and implement growth within our newer programs like RISE, Rural and Indigenous School Equity.
Well, I have to ask you, as an educator, what are new school supplies to students? I mean, we think of it as just school supplies, but there's so much more to a student who may not be able to afford this.
Oh, there are so many students that can't afford it. There's so many kids, so many families. I mean, they can't spend this. And you know, when I first started teaching, this is the start of my 41st year. And when I first started teaching, we didn't have an issue. We have an issue. We have a gap we absolutely have to fill. And we have kids that don't have what they need. And what you do by giving to this place is invaluable. Thank you. Keep doing it.
With the support of additional funds, Kids in Need Foundation is poised to make a transformative impact on education. This strategic initiative aligns with our mission of creating equitable learning spaces, expanding teacher resources, and facilitating program expansion. State funding, coupled with generous contributions from supporters, will be instrumental in providing Kids in Need Foundation with the opportunity to continue its mission of fostering educational equality and positively impacting the lives of students.
So there's a quick introduction of the work that we do, and we provide services to teachers and students a few different ways. We currently operate 40 resource centers throughout the U.S., but our flagship center is here in Roseville at our location, where teachers can basically come and shop for free. They come once a quarter. We know teachers don't have big storerooms in their schools, so they come once a quarter so as they can replenish the supplies that their kids are using each quarter. And when they come, it's literally like going to a small retail Staples, Office Depot type store where they have an appointment, they come in, grab a shopping cart, go up and down the aisles, take the supplies that they or their students need, and when they check out, there's no cost to them. We thank them for coming, we appreciate them for being the teachers that on the front lines of education, and we look forward to seeing them again next quarter. And we do that throughout the state, so it's that resource center is available for any teacher who is at a qualifying school, as well as open to school counselors, school nurses, and other educators at these qualifying schools. And again, at zero cost. For teachers who aren't able to make it to our resource centers, we actually ship the supplies directly to them. So whether it's in remote communities throughout the state, whether we're servicing an entire school district, we will direct ship the supplies to the teachers so that way they can get the supplies that they need for themselves and for their students. Now, we had a couple of, as Senator Hoffman mentioned, we had a couple of special guests that we were hoping to be here with us. If we could get the Thank you. One of these guests is Heather Green, but unfortunately she's on a plane right now and was not able to make it. She is the vice chair of our National Board of Directors. Unfortunately, she is, as I said, on the plane. She travels quite a bit. She is in her role as a global president for 3M. 3M is a great example of the type of corporate support that we receive, both here in our home state as well as throughout the U.S. And it's because of corporate partners like 3M that we have never been in the public sector before. We've been funded by corporations, both from a cash and product perspective. And so this is our first foray into the public sector. 3M also provides an army of volunteers for us through their employees, and that's another good example of the type of support we receive here in our wonderful state. From corporations, both large and small, churches, universities, fraternal orders, as well as just neighborhood groups, parents, individuals. Literally every single day, we have an army of volunteers that come to our resource center each day, and thanks to the corporate support and the volunteer support, we operate with a 98% efficiency ratio, which only a very small handful of nonprofits across the entire country can tout. Now, with that said, in our story, teachers are the heroes of our story. And so the other special guest that we were hoping to attend, well, he's a teacher, and guess what he's doing right now? He's teaching class. So late last night, he said, I'm sorry I can't be there, but I want to send a video as a way of being there, participating with you. And with that, I'd like to introduce Michael Houston, the current Minnesota Teacher of the Year.
Hello all. Thank you so much for allowing me to share my experiences with you. I apologize I couldn't be there in person. My name is Michael Houston, and I'm a mathematics teacher at St. Paul Harding High School, and I'm the current 2023 Minnesota Teacher of the Year. Harding High School has approximately 1,800 students. 90% of our students qualify for free and reduced lunch. 94% of our students represent marginalized communities, and 33% of our students are English language learners. So school supplies for us are a necessity. Each school year, our district only allocates $1,500 for the math department, for which I am responsible to share among my 14 colleagues and our 36 students per class for an entire school year. So as you can imagine, school supplies only go so far. In a career that only allows teachers to write off $300 for classroom expenses, school supplies can get really expensive really fast. However, I am indebted to the Kids in Need Foundation, which solely exists to help students obtain the school supplies their families could not otherwise afford. I am grateful to the Kids in Need Foundation, which exists to help teachers meet the needs of our students so they can walk into our classrooms ready to learn with pride. From pens to pencils, binders to notebooks, book bags to art supplies, some of which we are encouraged to take an unlimited amount of, Kids in Need Foundation has become an invaluable resource that has made my incredibly taxing yet incredibly rewarding career much easier to balance, manage, and afford. Thank you.
We look forward to being able to have Michael and Heather join us at some other time, and hopefully you'll have a chance to meet them. Y'all are welcome to come to our resource center in Roseville at any time to come talk to the teachers directly and see what firsthand the work that we do. Several of you on this committee have already been there. Senator Hoffman has been there as well, and you have seen what the work it is that we do for the teachers and for the students. The funding we're looking for really is three parts. One, we want to be able to expand our resource center to support more teachers. We also want to be able to ensure that when the teachers come to our resource centers, we have the supplies that they need for themselves and for their classrooms. The second part of what we're looking for is to expand our RISE program, Rural and Indigenous School Equity. Rural and Indigenous communities are oftentimes have the toughest challenges in having access to these supplies. Logistics is obviously a challenge these days in the U.S., and so we want to be able to do more for rural and indigenous communities. And the third component is we truly do want to service the entire state. And the funding that we receive to be able to move to the greater Minnesota, up north, to the remote corners of the state, we want to be able to increase the support that we are able to provide for those teachers and those communities, so that way, even if they can't come to our resource center here in Roseville, they can still get the supplies that they need, because we're going to send it directly to them. That's our mission, and I turn it over, Madam Chair, for any questions that the committee may have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Gordon. And yes, I enjoyed my visit with you this summer, but also shared with you that over the tenure of my teaching career, I visited your establishment a number of times, really seeing firsthand what a difference it made when I was able to have pencils and pens and erasers and rulers and paper notebooks that students didn't have. Coming into the media center and, just saying, do you have a pencil? And I could say, yeah, go in the drawer and there's a bunch of supplies in there, take what you need. And it was because of the foundation that was able to provide those supplies as well. I know back at one time, there was even like decorations for your room, which eats up a teacher's salary, and seasonal opportunities, for room decoration that we would end up sending home with the students. And there was nothing more than a thrill to be able for a kid to be able to take their, some of those decorations or some of those items home to their families. So I do thank you, and I thank you for reaching out to the school in Greater Minnesota that identified as being in need, and appreciate your willingness to work with the expanded school districts across Minnesota. Members, Senator Rarick, you had something you wanted to say.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And, I am a co-author on the bill because I see this, and especially when the testimony we heard from Mr. Houston, we can see what the need is and how this helps. But I think we also have to have a discussion. I think this is a great follow-up from our last presentation. Our schools are in great need, and they are struggling with the dollars we do give them. And then we're also looking at expanding, and we gave a lot of money out to nonprofits last year, which is actually taking away from what our schools can do. And I think that's something, it's a hard discussion that I think we have to have as a committee is, should we be focusing our dollars to our schools and only to our schools through this committee, or are we going to continue to go down the road of giving money to nonprofits? One of the things that I look at, too, as I've looked at a lot of this, we have the categoricals, which drive more money to schools that have the English language learner and free and reduced milk. And then a lot of these nonprofits are also going and serving those schools, which when we look at the bill that Senator Lucero had, and we hear from all these schools that are at the bottom of the funding formula, that they get the least amount per student every year, this is continuing to drive that difference of what our schools are getting per student. And so I think even though a lot of these are such, these nonprofits do great work and we support it, we have to have this discussion. Are we if we're going to continue down this road, which could be a good thing, I'm not saying we shouldn't, but then I also think we should be looking at it, and a bill that I have around education savings accounts, if we're going to direct money to nonprofits, why aren't we also then directing money to parents so that they can make choices? So I think these are hard discussions that we should be having as a committee. Do we want to focus all of our funding to our schools and giving them the most flexibility to use it the way they need within their districts, or do we want to break it up and assist nonprofits who are going to help? But then if we're going to do that, I also believe we should be giving some ability to parents to make some of those decisions and where the money is going to go that they feel could help their children the most. So thank you, Madam Chair. And again, I do support this. It's a great foundation with the work that they do, but it's a part of a big discussion that we need to be having here.
Thank you, Senator Rarick, and I'd be happy to have that conversation with you if you ever want to reach out to me and talk to me about that. I think we do have to recognize the role of nonprofits in our society and the amount of support that they provide in so many different ways. Schools cannot be the only source of support and resources to our communities. We heard today the role of what it takes to be a counselor, and I talked a little bit about schools not having the supplies that they need, or the students not being able to access all of the resources. So these nonprofits are our partners in this. They are doing a lot of the hard community boots on the ground work that our schools aren't able to do because of the limitations that they also have. And I think we owe a lot of success to those organizations, and we support them in the ways that we can so that they can continue to do that. Poverty, housing, all of those things have been an issue in our communities, in our society for so long. And as I say time and time again, this is our first year being able to address, or our second year trying to address some of these issues. If there are issues that you have, I'm happy to hear them. If you have solutions, I'd like to hear your bills, or see your bills at least. And if there are unfunded mandates, please let us know. I did see a list from you guys the other day, briefly, and I can say that most of those things we did put dollars towards. And we will continue to do that and make sure that the schools have the resources they need, but it's going to take some time to do that. And nonprofits are part of that equation. And so, any other questions? Senator Cwodzinski.
Thanks for coming in. I'd like to encourage all the members of both education committees to visit your facility, and hopefully it's just a wonderful experience. And I just want to thank you and your team for the hard work that you do to make so many kids and teachers and counselors and social workers and all the people involved in education breathe a little bit easier every day because of your efforts. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Yes, that invitation is available. When Senator Cwodzinski came out, he asked several questions of me, and I was happy to respond. You know what? Those are some great questions. Look at the teachers that are in the center here. Please ask those questions directly of the teachers and hear from them directly why they are here and the value that's being provided. So I would encourage all of you to please come and see for yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Senator Lucero.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I appreciate the words that you gave just a few minutes ago. But I want to take you up on your offer to hear ideas, and so I do have a solution. And that solution is currently drafted as Senate File 3885. And that is, as Senator Rarick brought up, districts at the bottom continue to fall further and further behind in terms of the per pupil funding, and that gap continues to widen. Bills such as this exacerbate that ever widening gap. While poverty and other issues are absolutely concerns that we need to focus on and have solutions for, but another item that is just as important is academic opportunity. And that ever increasing gap is snuffing out and limiting academic opportunity for those districts at the bottom. And so, Madam Chair, I'm just taking you up on your offer. If you have, I think your suggestion was, if you have ideas, I'd like to hear them. Senate File 3885. And Madam Chair, you offer also solicited here, you'd love to hear our bills. So I'm wondering, Madam Chair, if you'd be willing to commit to having a committee hearing this year on SF 3885.
Thank you, Senator Lucero. Before I answer, Senator Gustafson, would you like to, you had something you wanted to say.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I echo Senator Lucero's conversation starter about equalization, which is commonly known as. We also have a bill. It's co-authored by Senator Cruin. be happy to advocate for that to get a hearing as well. But I just want to say that that is a bipartisan issue to make funding more equal for schools. And it is an idea. It's one of many. I think what's, for those in the audience who are not picking up on it, maybe the conversations about choice means vouchers. Vouchers is a completely different conversation that really wouldn't address a lot of what we're talking about here. But equalization is something that hopefully we'll get a further conversation this session or next session, but there are many people working on that. And SF 4184, if we're just going to be throwing out bill numbers, is one that people could look up as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And we will be looking at possibly hearing these. Of course, there's always a cost to that. We don't know what our numbers will be this session, but I think it's really important to recognize that while there are communities that are sincerely struggling to pay to pass referendums or to be able to put more money into their school districts, and many of those on that bottom 20 that you talk about are actually schools that receive the least but maybe have the most in our state because they do have a strong tax base, and their communities invest in their schools by passing referendums, and that's what makes up the difference between the formula and the categoricals. So those are things that we are looking at, that we are talking about. If we don't hear bills, it might be because their funding is just impossible to address, but also that the bill doesn't necessarily solve the problem that is there. So we will continue to have these conversations, and Senator Farnsworth.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of comments that you made piqued my interest. First of all, the bill, we won't know if it's going to meet the needs until we have a hearing on it. And so why wouldn't we have a hearing? And I guess my second question, or maybe not question, but my second point is, if we don't know the cost, so we can't hear the bill because we don't know the cost, maybe we should cancel this committee until we get our targets, because why are we hearing any bills if we don't know the cost? So we might as well just cancel committee.
Senator Farnsworth, what I really enjoy is giving the opportunity for these organizations to share the good work that they have done within our communities. So we're not going to cancel that. Sorry. Senator Umova-Baden, you wanted to say something.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say thank you for coming. I had an opportunity to visit Kids in Needs Foundation over the interim, not quite in my district, but just north. And I'm a proud daughter of a now retired public school teacher. So I just know how hard it is to get those resources and to get those supplies. So thank you for the work that you're doing every day.
Thank you, and thank you for your visit.
Thank you so much, and I'm sorry that we got kind of sidetracked on different ideological issues, but we do appreciate the work that you and your organization is doing and the impact, the positive impact that it has on our communities. When teachers know that they can go get the supplies that they need, that lifts up their spirits, it lifts up the students' spirits, it adds those resources to our schools and to our communities. I know you all work so very, very hard at doing this work, and I just want to say thank you for coming in and sharing those successes, and appreciate the work that you all do.
Yeah. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, committee.
You bet. All right, next we have Senator Cwodzinski. Senate File 3832. Senator Cwodzinski, we will be laying this bill over for possible inclusion in our future omnibus bill, and appreciate you being here. You may begin when you are ready.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. A couple years ago, a woman I worked with for decades called me up and asked if I'd be willing to allow a student to shadow me. And so, of course, we love when students shadow us. And so she shows up, and she was a recent immigrant to the United States. Her family came from Vietnam when she was in 9th grade. And she loved meeting with me, with constituents and lobbyists, and hearing that we had that day. And so it's at the end of her visit, and she's sitting on my couch in the office, and she starts crying. And I didn't know what to say, and finally I just asked her, are you okay? And she goes, and again, her family came here when she was in 9th grade, she was a senior. She looks at me and she goes, I can't believe I live in a country where I can go visit with my elected officials and watch them work. And I just love that moment. And that's part of our job as legislators, is to foster and nurture our youth and to build in them a sense of civic virtue and political efficacy, so that they someday, when they take on our roles as senators and representatives and research staff and interns and pages, they can say things like, my love for this state and this country began with my work with the Youth Advisory Council. So with that said, I have 3 speakers, I think, today, and I'm going to turn it over to them. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Good morning and welcome, former Representative Davney. We welcome you here this morning as the Executive Director of the Minnesota Youth Council. If you would like to share what you have to share with us.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair and members. I am Jim Davney. I'm the Executive Director of the Minnesota Alliance with Youth. We are very happily the host agency for the Minnesota Youth Council. I'd like to start by thanking Senator Cwodzinski for authoring this bill today, but also for being a liaison between the Senate and the Minnesota Youth Council. I'll try to be brief, as I know I'm between the committee and a student testifier, and I think I know the committee well enough that they want me out of the way and to hear from the student. The mission of the Alliance is working in partnership with youth to ensure that all young people have equitable educational opportunities that foster their individual assets, honor their voices, and prepare them to reach their goals. It's that honoring their voices that the Minnesota Alliance with Youth looked to when we first started advocating for the creation of the Minnesota Youth Council 10 years ago, and we're successful in that. In those 10 years, the Youth Council has served as a leadership development opportunity for young people across the state. It is a statewide entity that is in statute unique in that it is tasked with advising the governor and the legislature on issues of interest to youth. And we work actively with the youth to develop their skills and develop their voice, to take their place in the public policy process, because we recognize what you recognize, which is the best public policy is made with the voices and the input of those most concerned and most affected by that policy. And when we're talking about young people and their policy that affects them, we help provide a unique conduit to young people to participate in that process. The challenge for the Alliance is, with the exception of 2 years of those 10 years, the state has provided no financial support for the operations of the council. So the state created us, the state directs us to engage in certain activities, but for the most part has not provided the financial wherewithal to accomplish those goals. We do actively fundraise from foundations for that, for funding to operate, but the foundations kind of look at us like, but you're a state-created thing. Shouldn't the state be supporting you? And that's what we're here about today. Madam Chair, members, thank you for the time today. I'm going to get out of your way so you can hear from others. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Davney. And we have a student that would like to speak? Or would you like your, perhaps Ms. Mayawa, the Director of Minnesota Youth Council, would like to speak first? Okay.
Yes. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. I am also going to be very brief to allow for Arjun to really take the spotlight today. But I just want to thank you all, Madam Chair, members of the committee, for having us and hearing this bill. The Minnesota Youth Council is a very inspiring place to be. And if you guys ever have the chance, it would be great to come to one of our retreats, one of our meetings. I started this job at middle of December last year, and I'm every day inspired by the brilliance, by the knowledge, the capacity of the youth that serve on this council. And I also want to point to the diversity of our council. Before starting this job, I wasn't as entrenched with young people from districts very far away from mine, right? I live in West St. Paul. I don't have anything to do with Northfield because that's not where I stay or where I play or visit. But I'm inspired by a young person from Northfield because of the diversity of our council. We hit all 8 congressional districts in the state of Minnesota, and then we have 4 extra members that are large members. And then through a myriad of activities, they develop their learning, their engagement skills, their ability to be true representatives of their peers, I should say, because part of what we do is amplify those youth voices, and they work really hard to understand, like, what's going on in my community, what are other young people besides myself saying, and what are they looking to have brought up to the legislature. Last week, we had Youth Day at the Capitol that was attended by over 500 students, and our youth council was able to hear a bill on climate education and provide their feedback to the authors of those bills on what they think young people want to see in the state of Minnesota. So just wanting to let you know, like, the Youth Council does great work. It's filled with young people who have all the aspirations and goals and energy to really create a positive change in our society. And I see them being the future lawmakers of our society. So really just here to ask for your support for the bill. And then I am going to pass it on to Arjun to also provide his personal testimony. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I know that many members of the Youth Council do sit on the different committees or discussions within our state government when there are decisions to be made about the youth. And I think that youth voice is really so very important. And so we have a young man here, Arjun. If you would like to state your full name for the record, and we'd love to hear what you have to say.
Good morning, Chair. And members of the committee. My full name is Arjun Kaniraman. And then, well, before I start testifying on the bill, I want to thank the bill author for their support and encouragement for youth leadership and youth voice in the state of Minnesota. But going on to the Minnesota Youth Council specifically, as one of the largest youth voices throughout the state of Minnesota and one of the largest connectors between the youth and the government, the Minnesota Youth Council is is a really crucial group for all people in the state of Minnesota. The youth really are we are the world's future, and that's something that I feel should resonate heavily with all of today's leaders in Minnesota. That eventually the youth are going to be the leaders of the world, and they are going to be the leaders of the future, and that's exactly the purpose of the Minnesota Youth Council, which is to make the leaders of the future. On the subcommittee which I serve on specifically, the Education Equity Subcommittee, we're working to ensure schools across the state of Minnesota have equitable inclusion and opportunities for all their students. Our current project is a survey which will be sent out to schools across the state about student voice in decision-making at school board meetings and school district-wide decisions in general. The other subcommittees, such as the Juvenile Justice Subcommittee, the Environmental Justice Subcommittee, or the Health and Wellness Subcommittee, they're all also working in unique and transformative ways to improve the state of Minnesota for not only students but also adults and ultimately the future, because that's really what we're hoping to improve, the future, because that's what the youth are. We're going to be the future. The work of the youth, and like I said, the work of the Youth Council ensures a beneficial future because every single seat in this room will one day be filled by a member of the youth. Every legacy will be overtaken by a member of today's youth, which is why we need as much support and encouragement for members of the youth. By increasing support and funding for the Minnesota Youth Council, the demographics, regions, and the amount of communities we can reach are truly unfathomable. I've seen firsthand how many people I've interacted with and how many people I've reached because of the Minnesota Youth Council. By just an increase in funding for more activities and more events, we can have so much more outreach and so much more support.
on like a more personal level, I'm in youth and government, which is ultimately just fake government. But even still in youth and government, I was elected as the Secretary of State, and because of that, I got to interact with so many different people in fake government. But even in that fake government, I saw how much change they wanted to create and how much drive they had. And the Minnesota Youth Council is making real change in real government for the members of the youth. We serve as a voice for the future. Through the activities, events, and different things that we, experiences that we host and encourage. We encourage conversations and connections between people on all sides of the many spectrums, whether that's political, social class, or anything else. So really, the Minnesota Youth Council is more than just legislation and policy making. It's community enrichment in all aspects for all people of the state of Minnesota, whether they're old or young, whether they're poor or rich, or wherever they're from throughout the state of Minnesota. It's really investing in the future, and therefore I urge you all to support the bill in front of you.
Thank you so much for sharing your experience with such a positive light, and congratulations on your role in youth and government. I too was a youth and government student, and I remember sitting in my seat in the lower right hand of the house with my friends saying, someday I'm going to sit here and I'm going to have my name on one of these desks. Really not expecting that to happen, and lo and behold, many years later. So these experiences that our youth have at a very young age can have a lasting effect, and it might not be an immediate decision, but all of you are our future, and we appreciate the time and the energy that you and your families and your schools put towards that effort. So thank you so much for being here today. Members, do you have any questions or comments? Seeing none, Senator Cwodzinski, any last words?
Nothing that this fine young man didn't already say more eloquently than I can.
Thank you all so much again for being here this morning. And with that, Senator Cwodzinski, we will be holding Senate File 3832 over for possible inclusion in our future omnibus bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members.
Thank you so much.
All right, our last bill of the day is Senator Gustafson, Senate File 3912. Senator Gustafson, you have the A2 amendment. Would you like to speak to that amendment?
Yes, Madam Chair. Sorry, let me get my mouse here. It is really just it adjusts the eligibility and cost and gets the bill in the shape we need to go forward.
All right. Members, any questions? Seeing none, all of those in favor of adopting the A2 amendment, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Oops. The amendment passes and is adopted. Thank you, Senator. I understand you have some or would you like to speak to your bill as amended?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. Just quickly, SF 3912 makes school lunch milk available without cost to the student or parent as proposed with the A2 amendment. So last year we passed universal school meals, but because of federal guidelines, according to the National Lunch Program, students who brought a lunch from home weren't able to get a milk unless they took the meal, which isn't practical. So to accommodate our elementary students, we're going to bring forward SF 3912, which provides one free milk per day to K through 5 students. And again, only to the students who want the milk. Nobody is required to take a milk, but it is for those students who bring a meal from home and then would like a milk that is, obviously milk is perishable, so it's better to have it at school. They're not required to take a milk. This is eligible for both private school students and public school students, but it eliminates the confusion around free school meals and whether or not students have to take a full meal just to get the milk. It's not an unfunded mandate for those interested. The fiscal note reflects the costs that would be reflected in our education budget to cover the cost for schools if it is adopted and passed. And you'll notice letters of support from the Minnesota Milk Producers Association and the Minnesota School Nutrition Association. And whenever you're ready, Madam Chair, we do have two testifiers, one online and one in person that are ready to go.
Thank you so much for bringing this forward. I know it's sort of one of those things that you just don't think about until you start to implement a program, and appreciate you bringing this forward once again, and for the work that you did on making sure that all our students have the opportunity to eat a breakfast and a lunch at school at no cost to their families. I think it's called a lunchbox tax break. Family tax break, what is that?
Yes, Madam Chair. Well, it's money back in the pockets of those who live in our community. The average family in White Bear Lake saves about $1,800 a year. So that's money back, in a sense, a tax cut.
Thank you. First of all, we have Leah Gardner. If you'd like to state your name for the record, and you may begin.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair and members. My name is Leah Gardner, and I am Policy Director at Hunger Solutions, which is the advocacy branch of the food group. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to testify in support of Senate File 3912, which offers free school milk for elementary students that are bringing their lunch from home. When we launched the Hunger Free Schools initiative a couple years ago, we did that because we know how important it is that all students have access to nutritious meals at school, and that's beneficial for their overall health and well-being, of course, and their ability to learn. We also know that students have a range of dietary needs, and in some cases that might necessitate them bringing a meal from home that can better meet their needs. And we also know that regardless of whether a student is eating a meal prepared at school or at home, we want them to have access to a full range of nutritious options, including milk as a nutrient-dense product. So by offering no-cost milk, one thing that we are addressing is we're eliminating that incentive to take a whole meal if they already have one brought from home, with no intention of eating it, just to get that milk, which then means that we're eliminating the potential for that food waste that we don't want to see in our schools. So we find this to be a common sense bill, a practical solution as we're implementing free school meals for all. We want to tackle these little issues as they come up and make sure that we're not creating confusion in the lunchrooms. And we want to make sure that all students have access to milk as a nutritious option to support their growth and learning potential. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Gardner, and thank you for all the work that you do with Hunger Solutions as well. Next, we have Glenn Ritter. There he is. Welcome to our committee, Mr. Ritter. Mr. Ritter is the food service supervisor at the St. Michael Albertville School District. If you would like to state your name for the record, and you may begin.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Again, my name is Glenn Ritter, Food Service Supervisor for the St. Michael Albertville School District, as well as the Vice President for the Minnesota School Nutrition Association. And I'm here to offer MSNA support to provide free milk to students to bring a lunch from home as proposed in Senate File 3912. As you know, that monumental bill was passed last year to help offer a free breakfast and lunch to all students. On school days, it's been a wonderful investment in the future of Minnesota students by ensuring they have fuel needed to learn effectively at school. And this has resulted in some increased participation in breakfast and lunch programs, and this has been a great positive outcome for students. However, there has been some confusion among families that bring a lunch from home. Many wondering why there's a cost for a carton of milk when meals with milk are served free of charge. So, for example, in my school district, St. Michael Albertville, my department has received a number of phone calls this year from parents asking why their student has a negative balance in their meal account since meals are free for students this school year. And as a department, we explain that only complete meals are served free of charge.
So a carton of milk is part of a complete meal, but alone is not eligible eligible to be served free of charge under the Minnesota Free School Meals legislation. Again, we feel like the nutritional benefits for milk is an important piece to help students learn and perform well in school. And hopefully this will limit some of the unhealthy beverages sometimes that we see students bring in their lunch from home, whether it's a soda or other sugary drinks. We want to give them that nutrient-dense milk, so it'll help them concentrate and learn effectively after lunch. So again, I think it should be, students need equal access to free serving of milk during school meal service if they bring a meal from home, sorry. This would help clear up the confusion for families while sending a consistent message about the benefits of milk as part of a balanced meal. And so MSNA would urge you to vote yes to Senate File 3912. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ritter. Any questions from the Senator Rarick?
Thank you, Madam Chair. First question is, why is this limited up only to the 5th grade level?
Senator Gustafson.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Senator Rarick. So the anecdotes that we heard throughout the community over the summer, with the places that seemed to have the most confusion were our youngest students, just because they were littler. They're not usually in charge of packing their lunches. They were coming in assuming that a milk was coming and it wasn't. And if you go back to the Minnesota Dairy Farmers Association, we just know that having that nutrient-dense option for them, especially at such a young age, is important. That was what the cutoff was made, and the determination was based on that, if that helps.
Follow up?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do see a little bit of a problem with this. I believe every school district in my area, elementary is K through 6. And we're going to be telling the 6th graders, you don't get this, but everybody else does. So I see some problems with that language, limiting it to their many schools. Elementary goes through 6th grade, and we're going to create problems with that. And then just a question quick maybe for our staff. On line 1.15, where we say wholesome milk, what is the purpose of wholesome in the state statute language? Is that clarify something? Is that, sometimes we have to look at the words on the page and make sure it's not going to actually cause a problem. It just seems to me, I don't think we define wholesome milk anywhere, and I think just stating milk would actually be far clearer for the state statute.
So, I'm sorry, Madam Chair, is that for me or for?
Well, if you would like to respond first of all, sure. And then we'll ask our support staff here to respond.
So, Senator Rarick, I would love to accept an amendment that extends it to 6th grade as well. I think that that's a great idea, so I'd be happy to make that change if you had that ready, or we can work on that later. And then also just to address, but I will rely on council to clarify it further, but I believe they're talking about not chocolate milk, if that helps. It's got a little bit more sugar in it, so we're trying to get away from that. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Gustafson, and I'm just going to ask Mr. Arneson to respond to the question about wholesome milk.
Madam Chair and members, to Senator Rarick's point, I don't believe wholesome is a defined term in the nutrition code. I'm not certain whether it's a defined term in the kind of federal regulations. It's a knowable answer, but I don't know that answer right now. I'll just note for the information of the committee that the existing language, for example, at line 1.13 of the bill, with regard to the existing law kindergarten milk program uses the word wholesome, and so perhaps as drafters were preparing this bill, they just kind of copy pasted that language has been around, I think, for at least 20 years. But I can track down more information for you. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Arneson. And I think we also have to think about the milk itself. I would think that skim milk might not be the best choice. We know that those youngest users need the calories and the fat from certain milks. It helps with their this is a long time ago, I learned about the myelin sheath in the brain and the nerve endings and the importance of actually having some healthy fats in the diet, which is why I'm sure we don't see skim milk. I know at one point there was chocolate milk, there was strawberry milk, there were all kinds of different opportunities, thinking that we were doing kids a favor by offering these flavored sugary milks. And so I'm going to kind of assume that that's the case. And we have to remember that much of the food that we serve is also supported at the federal level by the Department of Agriculture, and they have very strict guidelines as well. Senator Mayquay, you had a question or comment?
Yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Gustafson, I love your bill. I did have a recommendation to address Senator Rarick's point. I think we have a definition of elementary school in 128.05, which is pre-K through 6 or any portion thereof, so that might be a useful amendment.
Thank you, Senator. Any other comments or questions? Senator Farnsworth.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Senator Gustafson. I have a couple of questions. First, I'm just wondering, kids with lactose intolerance, can this be interpreted to, like, if somebody needs almond milk or something? Because it doesn't say dairy milk, so I'm assuming that is how it could be interpreted, but what's your thought on that?
Senator Gustafson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, as someone who sits on the Ag Committee and has no desire to make the Milk Association mad at me, I would say that this is what is available according to the National Lunch Program, and so this is what we're sticking with. So yes, it would just include dairy milk in the sense of milk from cows and not plant-based milks. That would be something that a student would have to bring from home if that was something that they needed.
Senator Farnsworth, follow up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My next question has to do with the fiscal note, and then last year, the Senate passed the free lunch meal, and it turned out to cost significantly more than what was estimated. And this might be a question for staff. I'm wondering if we have any assurance that the fiscal note on this is a little bit more accurate than the cost estimate for the free school lunch that we had last year.
Madam Chair, I can start that answer if
Yeah, if you would like to begin.
Finish it.
Yep.
Yeah. So a couple of things, and I'm glad that this came up. Thank you, Senator Farnsworth. The fiscal note, it assumes that about 25% of students in Minnesota, so roughly those who are bringing a lunch from home, would want the milk. And so they're not forced to take one. It's only if they want the milk. It's just an estimate. The schools would only be paying for the milks that are actually consumed. Last year, we did hear a lot about food waste as being a concern for universal meals. So this sort of helps address that concern. Students no longer have to take a full meal if all they want is the milk. So we're trying to just make this common sense and a little bit more efficient. And again, just the reason why it is what it is because the federal government's national lunch program dictates what a meal looks like. And if that is helpful, I'll just on your last comment too about universal school meals and costing more. I think that just goes to show how necessary this policy was. We find out that more students wanted and needed that lunch or breakfast. Yes, maybe their parents could afford it. Maybe they could barely afford it. Either way, it's a useful policy that is very popular in Minnesota, and rightly so. Students are getting the breakfast and lunch that they need, no questions asked. And if it expands and people are taking advantage of it, I think that that's a good thing. And I think it's well worth the investment that we allotted for it in our education budget.
Thank you, Senator Gustafson. Mr. Arneson, you had a response to the question about non-dairy milk.
Madam Chair and members, yes, to Senator Farnsworth's question, that under the existing Minnesota kindergarten milk program, if a student has special dietary needs, evidenced by written and signed request for an approved non-dairy substitute to cow milk from a parent or guardian or medical authority, the district can obtain that substitute and claim reimbursement from the state program. So I suspect this proposal in front of us would be administered in a very similar fashion.
Thank you, Mr. Arneson. We learn something new every single day. There we go. Follow up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I think I'll just make a comment rather than a question. With deficits looming, and this kind of goes back to our unfunded mandate discussion, with deficits looming next year, my concern is that a program like this or the free school lunch will suddenly not be funded, and schools will be on the hook to pay for that. And so I guess my suggestion is kind of like Senator Rarick's suggestion as far as including sixth graders would be to include some sort of a mechanism whereby if the state stops funding this, then school districts can opt out of it, because this would be devastating, I know, for my school districts. And I don't believe, I read through this, I didn't see a mechanism that would allow for that, but I think that's something that the school districts would like to have if that funding were to stop. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Farnsworth. And if there are schools that are have that fear and that worry, I would love to hear from them. So if your school district is worried, please ask them to call us, or if you know of other school districts that are concerned about that, we're happy to have that conversation so that we can put in the safety nets that we need. Any other questions? Did you have a response to that, Senator Gustafson?
No, Madam Chair, I think you answered that perfectly.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Well, seeing none, thank you so much for bringing that forward. We know this is one of those areas that are really important to ensuring that our students have the healthy and the nutrition that they need to learn and to grow in a healthy way. And so thank you again for bringing the bill last year and then improving on it even more this year. And so members, with that, we will adjourn in just a minute. Next meeting, which is tomorrow, we will be hearing an informational presentation from the Bar Center. We will have a presentation on long-term facility maintenance, LTFM as it's so known. And then we'll have two bills up, one from Senator Bolden around grant application for PTEC programs, and then I will be presenting the forecast adjustment authorization and appropriation. And with that, Senate File 3912 is laid over for, as amended, for possible inclusion, and we are adjourned.